Hello, everybody. Joe Bag of Donuts here, and welcome back for another episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. A little late, getting around to this one. It's almost noon on the day it's supposed to go up. Here's what it is. No energy, rainy day yesterday, dreary. I just didn't want to do anything, so I didn't. Besides, play some games on my computer, some real veg out, FF14 stuff. Just working on those Zodiac weapon books, gotta do that grind. But, yeah, other than that, I don't really got much else to lead into for this one, Middle of the big fight, do the big plan again, yada yada. Probably gonna be extremely similar to what the plan with Ichijo was. Let's, knock down that big old thing and, wait for Ginseiko to show up again and we can all act surprised about it. The plan, if you can call it that, ends up looking like this. 1. I will maintain low profile and focus on repairing my damage. 2. Meanwhile, Captain Otori will distract the enemy and attempt to sever its power cable.
電源ケーブル。
細い上に迷彩が施されているようでひどく見づらいですけど。
Impressive that you could have such a large fucking towering behemoth and, it's got like the power cable that goes to like your fan on there, or your lamp, just a little fucking oh god, what's 120 volt? Pretty sure that's what we use in the States. Standard wall outlet, they just plug it right in. Big old extension cord just goes all the way back to base. She points to this space just below the giant, which has begun once more to rise.
機体と直下の地表との間にいつも筋があります。あの大怪獣に満載された面白兵器シリーズはおそらく電力で稼働するものでしょうから。
Yeah, it's like an Evangelion.
なるほど。
You gotta cut the
それは
umbilical
電力
cable.
を供給する電線だと考えるのが確かに妥当です。
And then, the big flashy 5-minute counter shows up on screen, and it's like, oh, we gotta hurry. With her directions, my enhanced vision, I can just make out the faint line against the darkness. It's no wonder I didn't spot it before. The cable's camouflage is clearly meant to render it invisible from the air.
内蔵電池の存在は疑っていましたが。
十分な容量を持つ電池を開発できなかったか、それとも特定範囲内での運用という前提におけるメリットデメリットを考慮した結果か。
Yeah, just be a big base defense.
しかし、そんなものがあるのに、行動の自由を阻害された様子がないのは。
あの電線、伸びたり縮んだりはしてません。機体がどう動いても、いつも真下に伸びたままです。おそらくあの電線は強靭な単鉄繊維でできていて、機体の動きに合わせて地表を切り裂きながら移動しているのでしょう。地下で電源が一緒に移動しているとは考えにくいですから、多分この辺りの地下一帯には通電板のようなものがあって、あの電線はそれとつながっているのではないかしら。
Be careful where we step. Don't step on the third rail.
そう考えれば納得ができます。あの奇妙な輪立ちのことも。
It's like bumper cars, Except, instead of like the rails being on the ground, they're up in the ceiling. But, reverse. Instead of them being in the ceiling like a bumper car, they're in the ground. Like a giant genocidal mech thing. Man, old bumper cars are so cool. You go to like some shitty old carnival or like some amusement park that, that's been open for like 100 years. And they got the old bumper cars where like the electricity's like fucking flying off the ceiling from like the little contact rod. That shit's rad. I was like, ooh, this could fucking kill me. This is awesome.
ケーブルが走り回った後というわけでございますね。
ですが大義。
I fucking love old amusement park stuff. Like the one back home. Like, I say the big amusement park back home, but, compared to like any actual proper amusement park, like a Six Flags or something, little tiny rinky-dink place. They've added some like newer roller coasters and rides in like the past decade or two. But, when I went, they had 2 roller coasters. One, it was just a simple corkscrew, and the other was like old school fucking wooden, like the entire thing is made out of wood. Like over like 100 years old, fucking just solid wooden beams. No loop-de-loops, nothing fancy, you know, it's got some banks, you know, they make some turns on, and it's got like one big drop. Well, you know, it's still fun. Some people have died on it before, but you know, is what it is.
問題は手段です。いかにして立つおつもりか。
If she's right about the cable's nature, then it must be nearly as strong as the Tsurugi's armor. Even a chainsaw would take several minutes to cut through. And of course, we don't have that kind of time.
そうですね。まあどうにかなりますでしょう。ご心配なく。
ご心配なくと言われましても。
Like, sure, I believe you, but I'd like to get the warm and fuzzies if you tell us the plan.
それは国際社会において最も信用に値しないとされている言葉ではありますまいか。
まあまあ。
Yeah, it'll be fine. Chuckling gaily, she brushes my question aside and heads off into the woods. 3. Miss Nagakura will observe the situation from the lighthouse at the Cape and report on any changes.
連絡の方法は
この小型無線機でお嬢様も同じものを持っておられます。
Now this is the
有効
40s.
範囲は狭いですが、
You got
こ
like
の
a
島の
fucking
中なら十
like a
分でご
World
ざい
War
ま
II
しょう。
radio backpack on.
港様にはお剣と波長を合わせている時間がございませんので。
はい。
気球の際には無差別発信を用いましょう。無論これは全ての無線機に傍受されてしまいますから、機密もへったくれもございません。使用はよほどの時に限りましょう。
Inconvenient, but it'll have to do.
しかし灯台に登ってもこの夜闇どの程度情勢を把握できるものかは
ご安心なく、こういう時に役立つあいつ、
Man, you're
ナイ
really
トビジョ
strapped
ン
the
が
fuck
ござ
out,
いま
huh?
すので。
もっと早く出してください。
お嬢様がいらっしゃる間は無用でございますからな。電池に限りもありますし。
Yeah, and are they
ご分を
are they like Gen 1 night vision goggles? Because those you need to like flood the area with like it's not infrared, it's like a UV light or something. Like you put a filter over regular light that like pretty much makes it super dim. Then you're able to see with your night vision goggles. It's super fucked up and dumb. You occasionally see like old Soviet ones for sale. I got a frog in my throat, give me a sec. Ah, there we go. As I was saying, you know, I peruse military surplus websites from time to time because I love fucking old shit. I love my fucking, like, Romanian border guard coat. Fucking fantastic in the winter. It's amazing. I also have, like, a Czechoslovakian, like, mess kit bumming around somewhere. Take it with me when I go camping. Anyway, you'll occasionally see, like, Gen 1 night vision goggles for sale. And it's, like, some old fucking Soviet shit. Like not even Russian Soviet. It's like, oh yeah, this is like Romanian, like Soviet Republic Gen 1 night vision goggles. And like, oh, what fucking hunks of junk. Like you need to plug them into the cigarette, like the the fucking cigarette lighter port in your car in order to fucking give it juice, and you gotta put these little fucking covers on your headlights for it to work. It's like, what a hunk of junk. Man, I just can't talk today. There's something killing me. She heads off towards the Cape. 4. I will await my opportunity, then neutralize the enemy with all haste. And that is how I find myself hiding in these trees, waiting for my chance to come. The enemy has already recovered, having secured a far more efficient heat supply than is available to us. It hovers oppressively at low altitude, swiveling its head like an ancient tyrannosaur in search of prey. And prey is all I am at the moment.
村正、回復状況は
焦らないで。もうしばらく時間がいる。 左腕と左足は今はどうにもできないけれど、
Thank you.
右足は動かせる程度にはしてみせる。
Yeah, at least you got one leg working. You can use it as a rudder.
地表で周りを障害物に囲まれていれば、耳で発見される危険はまずない。静止して発熱も抑えているから、肌もよほど近づかれるまでは大丈夫。今は時間の稼ぎ時よ。それだけこちらが有利になる。
承知している。だが
But while we wait here, but while we lie in wait here, gathering our strength, the people inside that thing are being.
わかってる。でも今、あのデカブツは
I kind of went like Dr. Light there for a second.
熱量消費も相応でしかな
I
い。
was about to go tell Mega Man to go get Dr. Wily.
だから焦らないで。
ああ
Nothing good will come of attacking now. As the captain said, it is the innocent children who will pay the price for my impatience. I have to wait for my opportunity. I know that, but it's hard. Lives are being stripped away before my very eyes.
ミド、鼻血が。
It's really dry air here.
気にするな。
熱量が減るでしょ。
そうか。気をつける。
Okay, but are you gonna like... I completely forget like how you're supposed to treat nosebleeds now. They change it like every single fucking year. Do you tilt your head back? Do you let it drain out? Do you just plug your nose? Like with some bandage or toilet paper? Like, I don't even remember what the proper like first aid treatment you're supposed to do for bloody noses anymore is. That was a gunshot.
隊員が始めたようだ。
みたいね。全く通じていないけれど。
Of course not. Only a state-of-the-art HVAP shell could pierce the Tsurugi's armor with a single shot, and that is no ordinary Tsurugi. The floating fortress slowly turns towards the shot, bringing its many guns to bear. As it turns, several more shots ring out against its armor, all striking the exact same place. I commend the captain's accuracy, but zeros, unfortunately, only add up to zeros. They appear to cause the machine no more distress than a mosquito bite, if that.
ケーブルを狙うんじゃなかったの？
適当な地点へ誘い込んで確実に仕留める。というようなことを言っていたが。
That must be what she's doing now. Though I don't see how any positional advantage could enhance her ammunition's efficiency? Effectivency? Sure. Efficacy? I know this word. Fuck. Where's the emphasis go? Google, help! Efficacy. Efficacy. Yep, I was right. It just doesn't sound right. Oh, this fucking dry winter air is starting to get to me. Now, I guess it is winter now. It's December. No two ways about that. The enemy's armor is no more vulnerable to a rifle from one angle than another. And while the cable may be more fragile than the Tsurugi, I have serious doubts about her ability to sever it. The weapon is not the only issue. Though slower than normal Musha, giant Tsurugi is still flying. The cable, therefore, is constantly in motion. Can she truly hit such a target? I realize that she possesses extraordinary eyesight, but will that be enough? The feat seems impossible without some sort of precognition. How will she bridge the gap between what is necessary and what is possible? She never struck me as someone given to overconfidence, but that one factor here works in her favor. Perhaps I should prepare my own plan, just in case. Muramasa's sword could sever that cable. Metal weave or no. The problem is how to get past that barrier. I'll need the railgun if I want to break through and take the cable. But I'll still need one more railgun to breach the Tsurugi's armor and incapacitate the pilot. Will I have the energy for a second railgun, and one strong enough to penetrate the Titan's hull? No, I shouldn't put my faith in the captain. But hope still burns in my chest. If she can cut the cable for me.
現時点ではかのゴリアテの他に敵兵力は確認できませぬ。しかし存在は確実でございます。機械化歩兵なら格別、連度の高い山岳歩兵でも繰り出されようものなら、
What, you mean
暗夜下でこれを発見することは
Blasted
まず叶いますまい。くれ。
了解です。ではまた後ほど。
さて、増援がいつ出てくるか、いつまで出ないか。勝負の奇数はその一点で定まりましょうか。
Yeah, we don't got all day here.
何にしても気は抜けないということで、周囲を警戒いたしましょう。右よし、左よし、後ろよし。なんてやってられる場合じゃありませんことよ。
Plan. Keep shooting at that big hunk of junk. Expected results? Put so many 1mm dents in the enemy's armor that the pilot goes bald from the stress. Threat assessment. The enemy is capable of neutralizing this unit with a single direct hit from its smallest cannon. Relative strength, 10-1 in the enemy's favor. Note, this assessment follows the precedent set by Prime Minister Tojo Hideki when he reported that the relative strength of the British in Yamato at 10-1, because reporting it truthfully at 100-1 would have crushed morale. Course of action. Ignore reality. Operating philosophy. The most dangerous animal in the world is a sniper and a rifle. Conclusion. Do my best.
おさますぎる。でも人生に一度や二度くらいステファン大聖堂から飛び降りることも必要かしら。
Sure, I'll take your word for it. Kaine despises evil, not for any close personal reason, but because that is the duty to which she was bred. Those born into a noble house who inherit power and prestige as their birthright also inherit a sacred duty to shepherd the just and punish the wicked. There are, of course, nobles who abuse their authority, growing fat and wealthy in the comfort of their mansions while sending others off to die for what's right. But those do not command the love and respect of their subjects, and have no cause to complain when the tide of revolution sweeps them from their seat. A noble who accepts the rewards but not the responsibility is a parasite and must be disposed of accordingly. And that is why Kaine, as the eldest daughter of Otori Taima no Mahito Tokitsugu, noble of third rank, hates all that is evil. That was a mouthful. Thank you for blinding me. Her duty cries out to her, boiling in her blood. Bear the justice of all mankind, it commands, and deliver retribution to those who profane it. Take vengeance. Vengeance! An eye for an eye, and blood for blood. Kill 'em all, Kaine!
さてと、この辺りでよろしいかしら。
始められますか、お嬢様。どうぞご存分にアートを描かれませ。
Sure.
お嬢様だけのアートを。
Is with it. Well, this big double bass, just goes in the background. It might be a cello, but it sounds a little bassier than a cello. To sever with a single bullet a slender wire in motion is, for all intents and purposes, impossible. Nagakura Sayo knows this well. But then, she also knows what her mistress is capable of. Nagakura Sayo knows Otori Kaine, perhaps better than Kaine knows herself.
ゼノンの空論が事実となるとき、そこに魔法が現れる。
I don't know what Zeno's paradox is. It'll probably explain it in a second, but just so we're all up to date, so the game doesn't lie to us. A set of philosophical problems devised by some Greek philosopher bullshit. Oh, okay. It's some fucking math shit. Paradoxes of motion. Three of the strongest and most famous, that of Achilles and the tortoise, the dichotomy argument, and that of the arrow in flight, all present in detail below. That which is in locomotion must arrive at the halfway stage before it arrives at the goal. Yeah. Suppose Atlanta wishes to walk to the end of a path. Before she can get there, she must get halfway there. Before she can get halfway there, she must... Okay, so it's infinitely... Okay, so that's one of them. It's like infinite halves, you keep folding a piece of paper in half forever, and, she must get halfway there, and before she can get a quarter of the way, before she can travel a quarter, an eighth, before an eighth, 1/6, and so on. How can you get anywhere if to get somewhere, each half repeats, whatever. Don't care. Achilles and the tortoise. In a race, the quickest runner can never overtake the slowest, since the pursuer must first reach the point whence the pursued started, so the slower must always hold a lead. What? Okay. And the paradox of Achilles and the tortoise. Achilles is in a foot race with the tortoise. Achilles allows the tortoise a head start of 100 meters, for example. Suppose that each racer starts at some constant speed, one faster than the other. After some finite time, Achilles will have run 100 meters, bringing him to the tortoise's starting point. During this time, the tortoise must run a much shorter distance, say 2 meters. It will then take Achilles some further time to run that distance, at which time the tortoise will have advanced further, and then more time still to reach the third point, while the tortoise moves ahead. Thus, whenever Achilles arrives somewhere the tortoise has been, he still has some distance to go before he can ever reach the tortoise. As Aristotle noticed, this argument is similar to Diomedes, whatever. It lacks, however, the apparent conclusion of motionlessness. Sure. And the arrow paradox, that sounds more, related to what we're doing. If everything, when it occupies an equal space, is at rest at the instant of time, and if that which is in locomotion is always occupying such a space in any moment, the flying arrow is therefore motionless at the instant of time and at the next instant of time. But if both instances of time are taken as the same instant or continuous instant of time, then it is motion. What? If the arrow in the arrow paradox, Zeno states that for motion to occur, an object must change the position which it occupies. He gives an example of an arrow in flight. He states that at any one durationless instant of time, the arrow is neither moving to where it is nor where it is not. Okay? It cannot move to where it is not because no time elapses for it to move there. It cannot move to where it is because it is already there. In other words, at every instant of time, there is no motion occurring. If everything is motionless at every instant and time is entirely composed of instants, then motion is impossible. Whereas the first two paradoxes divide space, this paradox starts by dividing time and not into segments but into points. That's dumb. You're dumb. I hate philosophy. Philosophers are awful. They don't even do anything. They just get high and fucking say shit. Whatever. There were other paradoxes, but those were the big three. It doesn't take long for the Rokahara pilot to get a grasp on the situation. I shouldn't have done that. I feel fucking worse off for, having tried to understand any of that. Like, yeah, I get what it was saying, but I'm like, you're fucking dumb. That was dumb. You should have never said that to, ancient Greek philosophers. Anyway. The Crimson Musha had an ally all along. An ally who has chosen to attack Arahabaki with nothing more than an infantry rifle. Although he has not made visual contact with the attacker, he is certain that it cannot be a Musha himself. The enemy's Tsurugi was clearly Shinichi, and as such, bore no firearm. During the shift change, his colleague mentioned seeing other human figures with a target. This sniper must be one of those. One might wonder why the Musha's ally chose to act now, after all this time, but it does not take this pilot long to reach a conclusion. He knows that the enemy has suffered major damage. He saw it take a number of hits from the Dragon's Breath cannon, which would have sent most Musha plummeting from the sky. A tough foe, no question, but the fact that he landed and hid in the mountains, and remained hidden throughout the Arabaki's refueling, must mean that he has reached his limit. Where is the enemy now? If he's fled, then there's little Arabaki can do. The weaponry housed in this massive shell was not designed to root out lone Musha. He doubts that this is the case, however. If the enemy were going to run, he would have done so upon encountering Arahabaki, or if a streak of foolish courage brought him to challenge the beast, and certainly after his first taste of Dragon's Breath. However, he did not disengage. Whatever his affiliation, the enemy must have a reason for coming to Enoshima. The GHQ officer who showed up and took charge of the facility, a change that ultimately means little to this pilot. His job is the same no matter who he's working for. Probably knows who the enemy is, but that's not important now. The enemy's mission requires him to defeat Arahabaki. Naturally, his ally must be working towards that same purpose. So where's the sniper's role? Of course, to buy time for the Musha to recover. But why does the Musha need time? He's already in hiding, is he not? His ally attacked first despite knowing that a rifle would be useless. Why? To draw Arahabaki away. The vulnerable Musha must have been nearby. Where is he? Forget the sniper, where's the Musha? Think. Where did the first shots come from? Any soldier willing to attack Arahabaki with a rifle must have some kind of plan. What is the enemy's plan? What would produce the ideal result? The ideal result for Arahabaki to be in a position that will be advantageous to the enemy Musha once it is recovered. The sniper is trying to get Arahabaki to expose a weakness to the enemy. Which weakness? The Dragon's Breath cannon? The Musha went after it before. No, he would have learned his lesson. The power cable! After this long a battle, it's not surprising that the enemy might have spotted the cable despite its camouflage. The sniper is trying to draw Arahabaki into a position where the Musha will be free to strike at its power source. Now that he knows what to look for, he realizes that the sniper has been leading Arahabaki into a single direction. In which case... Do the math. Where's the enemy Musha hiding? As luck would have it, the pilot's conjecture is right on the mark, save for a few minor misconceptions. Or is it luck at all? Perhaps it is instinct, the sort befitting of a pilot who survived 25 grueling engagements to earn the title of ace. Either way, his aim is precisely on target. Good old what would I do? The paradox of telling the apple. What? Just that damnable cannon prepares to loose its deadly roar. A flash of light streaks through the darkness and snaps the cable like a piece of string. Must be the captain's doing. Though I haven't the slightest idea how she managed it. This is the chance we've been waiting for.
Dude.
So you gonna explain that paradox, or are we just gonna, not touch on that? I feed my heat into my Gatari and rise into the air. Our acceleration is less than before, yet I feel the G's more keenly, a clear sign that my condition remains exceedingly poor. Still, it will serve. Muramasa has done as promised, restoring enough function to my right leg that it can pick up the slack from my mobile left leg and maintain a modicum of stability. As for my arms, no problem there. The left is still dead, but the right is perfectly functional. It would be a disadvantage in orthodox Musha combat, but not for the single task that remains to me. One arm is all I need to unleash the railgun. The enemy's confusion is obvious. He turns in the direction of the captain's shot and brings his guns to bear. Foolish. Even if he kills her, it won't help him now. From what I've seen of the pilot's skill, he should be aware of that fact. Perhaps the sudden loss of power sent him into a panic. And now his true enemy, whom he nearly slew, closes on his greatest weakness. I see it. The enemy's cockpit. And still no curtain of lead rises to cut me off. The giant is focused on the unseen foe who severed his Achilles tendon. Victory is in sight.
秋の夜長を待ちかねて、菊見がてらに里のつゆ。濡れてみたさに来てみれば、暗に相違の愛想つかし。
何？
おいらん、そりゃあんまり袖なかろうぜ、村正！お前は？
Hello. You gonna be like an actual important character this time, or are you just gonna, drop off the face of the story again?
いかん。これではお嬢様が。
Nope.
デッキ、馬から火
Just
の
phase shift. Hey, nice.
完全に移る。
We don't have to read this fight again. The pilgrimage song rose and fell, like the tide that pulls one and all into death. The five listened, enraptured, wholly unaware of the sixth whose heart would be pulled along with them. On the second floor of the lodge, across the courtyard, was a room kept dark and closed off from the rest. This is where they kept courtesans who had fallen ill, or who had allowed themselves to become enamored of their patrons. Many grim rumors surround that place, whose purpose was it to contain its occupants so much that it was to help them recover. Women had died there, some said, after drowning in their own blood. It surprised no one if their spirits still lingered. At the time the song began, the room's current occupant had been composing a letter. Now, the courtesans of Furuichi were not known for their extravagance. They did not wear their hair in the latest fashion or donned robes embroidered with golden thread. Even simple robes, though, worn by the right woman, could be most pleasing to the eye. Many a younger man had spent his life's blood on a courtesan who hid her age beneath a pure white dress. This woman, too, felt the simpler dress suited her. Despite her illness, she wore it even as she wrote. Just relaxing, done your part, take 5. A red lacquered paper lantern lit her as she worked. From time to time, her brush would stop, and a low sob would echo in the gloom. And then she heard it. The bell at sunset tells a tale of what awaits us all, that paradise alone can offer peace from mortal woe. Why then would we shut our ears in answer to its call? The brush slipped from her fingers. Like threads woven in delicate splendor, the notes of Otama's shamisen rose to complement the melody. The blossoms fall, the leaves turn brown, but spring will bloom again. The birds return to line the nests they left as autumn came, but none returned from death, that final voyage in the end. Yep, real funny story.
夕べ明日の鐘の声弱滅イラクと響けども聞いて驚く人もなし夕べ明日の鐘の声どうしましょう愛の山伏が聞こえてきてしまいましたいっそ死んでしまおうかしら
I mean, that blood doesn't quite look like it's yours. It might be. Like, there might be an entry wound above the knee and we can't see the exit wound, you know, from the underside of her leg, but you can get up and hustle, you know, if you gotta. Just get a big stick as a crutch.
そうは参りませぬ。わびしい年金暮らしはまだまだごめんこうむりたく。お嬢様にはご健在でいていた
You're
だ
one of
か
those
なくて
old
は
people
困
that,
り
like,
まする。
always needs to be working. Like, you can't retire. Not because you don't have the money, but just, like, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. Behold, an Iron Maiden before you, naked, robed with blood. Just as he's about to finish the sniper off, the pilot of Arabaki receives a second shock of the night. A terrible languor suddenly takes him, as if something were draining the life from his body. What's happening? What did they do?
バーヤ、それ捨ててから出てきてくださいましね。心臓に悪いんですもの。
Do you have like some weird
お
fucking
待たせ
cerugi
い
or
たしました。
ご苦労様。お茶をくださ
what
る
the fuck was that?
は。どうぞお嬢様。
ありがとう。
足のお怪我はいかがでございますか？
ちょっと動かせませんが大丈夫です。
それはようございました。失礼いたします。
バーヤ、手当てなら後でもよくてよ。
I mean, we got the time. You know, it's best to keep your blood in your body.
まだ終わっていませんし。
いいえ、どうやらクローズでございます。遅れに遅れた騎
Hey,
兵
look at
隊が
that.
ようやっといらしてくださったようで。
Is the exact same thing gonna happen? You're just gonna be,
残念。美味しいところだけ持っていかれてしまいましたね。
you guys will need to get out of Dodge before Kinsego shows up.
それもヒロインの役回りでございます。
Yeah.
我々は退避しておくことにいたしましょう。
Otherwise, you're just gonna fucking get
ある
wrecked.
いはアンコールがあるかもしれませぬ。いかんながら今の状態で巻き込まれては足手まといになるばかり。
それはそれでヒロインチックですけれど。そうね。あとは
Yeah, he's
騎
got
士
this.
様にお任せしましょうか。
はい。
聞いてた？
距離がありましたので断片的にですが、しかし要点はしかと。こんなこともあろうかと端末を忍ばせておいて正解でございましたな。反町殿には感謝せねばなりません。
ええ。おかげでだいぶ見えてきました。
You know, it's not polite to be eavesdropping.
彼がどうして死んでしまったのか。ね、バーヤ。
はあ。
敵機捕捉。
Hey, look at that. Skip. She's my daughter, so we will kill her. Woo! So all the same stuff played out. Boop. Yep. See you later, Chapter 5. Good chapter, but I don't want to read that all over again. For all the talking the man does, he tells me very little, hardly enough to fill a single sheet of paper. Perhaps he's making a point, that there may be a great deal to say, but that almost none of it actually matters. He's right. Though we've never met, or have we, he nevertheless understands exactly what I need to know. He tells me that my dearest friend is gone. He tells me that I will never see him again. And he tells me who made that happen. I moan, I scream, I fight, I despair. I weep until the tears blind me, then stare at the ceiling until my eyes crack and dry. And thanks to him, when all is done, I know what I need to do.
Ah! 」 「
Well, leave a note like, sorry I killed this guy. Later. This is not a story of heroes. And still, the guilty are punished. Okay. Dun-dun. So, who's the Nemesis gonna be?
いやーよう来てくれたね影明くん。この間ごく
Sure was rough.
影明。
あのな、気休めになるかどうかはともかくこれは言うとくけど、
Sure.
罪の意識を持つ必要はないよ影明くんはな。どんなむごいことになっても命令したのはわしや。
So who's
責任もわし。
who's gonna go kill you know, big old Rokuhara man this time?
影明くんは苦しまなくていい。
The prince is just trying to put me at ease. I appreciate that, but it's not a matter of where to place the blame. We're talking about taking a life. Assigning responsibility is a secondary concern at best. And even if it were a primary concern, I could not accept the prince's argument. Of course, the leader of an organization is responsible for what happens by his order, but so are the people who carry out those orders, provided that they have a choice in the matter. You cannot assassinate someone and pretend that it wasn't your fault. If I perform this task, it will be my choice. The shogun's blood and the blood of an innocent will be on my hands. There's only one answer I can give.
宮殿か。
ついでやし言うとくけどな。
は。
I stumble, my answer preempted.
責任の話は今回の件に限ったことやない。これまでの影明くんの行動全部について言えることや。影明くんを銀星号の追跡に出すんはわしが認めたことなんやから。
宮殿か。それは。
That isn't true. Insego has always been my responsibility. The prince has nothing to do with it. I have to make that clear, otherwise...
だからな、森氏の件と銀星号の件が全部片付いた後、影明くんの罪を問うつもりはない。
Yeah, we'll pay to send you the therapy.
おまさんの身は誓って自由にしたる。のんびり休めるとこも手配するわ。
What? What did he say?
せやから、どうやろ。もうしばらくの間、踏ん張って力を貸してくれんかな。
You know, really, you can let loose, go wild, you know? We'll handle it all on the back end.
省庁。私ではなく、宮殿下にお答えしろ。あんたに聞きたいのだ。こんなざれ言をなぜ黙って聞いている。
ざれ？
口を慎め影明。御前だぞ。まさか。今の話は。
He's like, you can't set me free, I'm a criminal, I've killed people.
ああ、そうだ。約束が違う。
影明くん。
静まれ。俺は忘れていない。2年前、確かに約束したはずだ。全てが終わった暁には、俺を裁判にかけて処刑すると。
Yeah, but you know, that just seems like too much, you know?
今さら保護にするつもりか。あの時はそう約束せねば。お前は自制心を保てなかったろ。口先だったというのか。お前には問うべき罪が存在しない。宮殿下が仰せられた通りだ。
Like, sure, his hand's been forced. With a good lawyer, he could probably get off on manslaughter. But, you know.
こちらに来てからお前が成したことのすべては私と宮殿下の承認のもとに行われている。罪と責任の所在は疑いもない。違う。
Yeah, you're like 007, you got a license to kill, it's fine.
違わないさ。自分で責任を負え
It's
な
like
い
a
と
fishing
思った
license,
な
you
ら
know, only costs like $15 a
お
year to
前にや
renew.
らせはしなかった。 当たり前のことだろう。他人に責任を委ねた覚えはない。お前に覚えがなかろうと、世の道理に照らせばそういうことになる。
Yeah, just like I said.
罪と責任の第一は、やらされたものではなく、やらせたものが負う。命じられてなどいない。それに、もしそうだとしても、2年前のことの発端はどう始末をつけるつもりだ。影明、あの時俺は殺した。あなた方とはまるで関わりのないところでだ。
Yeah, the one you're really broken up about on the inside.
忘れてはいないだろうな、所長。菊池明隆。あなたの妻を殺した。
Yep, I knew it.
俺がこの手でだ。
I'm so smart. I'm so smart. I guessed it. I guessed it. In the last route, you guys had to be there. Once they mentioned that, like, fucking Ikaru's dad went off to be, you know, a lowly public servant in, like, fucking, whatever city they're in, Kamakura. I'm like, oh, it's the commissioner. Duh, obviously.
事故だ。私はお前があれを殺したとは考えていない。
I mean, fairly mature response to that, and he's not wrong. You know, if he heard the entire story, like we saw in the flashback from Minato here, you know, he went to, you know, kill that bandit guy in her defense, not understanding the repercussions of what would happen with Muramasa. And then things happened.
殺したのだ。どう否定しようと、それが事実だ。
Oh no, you can get off on like the Good Samaritan law. It's like how people can't sue you if you accidentally injure them while you're trying to like do first aid. Because when you're supposed to like do chest compressions, like when you're doing CPR, like you're really fucking crushing their chest because you're like actually trying to compress their heart. Like you can crack their ribs doing it if like they're old or say they had like a stress fracture there because they were in a car accident or whatever, you know, and if something goes wrong, you know, and maybe a broken rib fucking stabs them in the heart and they die, you know. There's, at least in the US, there's laws in place where you can pretty reasonably get off without any charges for, you know, accidentally killing someone. But, you know, you were attempting to help them. It just kind of went wrong. But then again, you know, probably depends on the state and how good of a lawyer you have.
私はそうは思わない。お前がどう言おうと。あれは事故だ。影明。犯人は存在しない。
Yep.
では、あなたは。
Man, you were really talking slow on that one. That one's not my fault.
影明。森氏暗殺をお前に強いるつもりはない。銀星号の件もだ。もう無理だというなら、私が村正ごと引き受ける。だが、宮殿下のお慈悲は受けろ。お前は十分に働いた。安息を得る資格があるのだ。
He's too self-righteous to let you do it.
慈悲などいらない。安息も、赦免も、欺瞞も投資も、お断りだ。俺は裁きが欲しいのだ。俺の犯した罪悪にふさわしい報いが。
Nope. The biggest punishment you can get is living with what you've done.
誰でもいい。俺以外の人間なら誰でも。現世で無慈悲な誰かが俺の罪を列挙し、一つ一つ弾劾し、
I mean,
刑を図り、執行してくれれば
you
それでい
say
い。
that, but even then, most impartial people would probably hear this story and be like, yeah, that wasn't really your fault. Like, it was kind of fucked up. Like, it's really unfortunate that happened, but I don't know if we can, like, really pin that on you.
死刑にしてくれればいい。それが正義だろう。
影明君。お前さん、死にたいんか？
I mean, once everything's said and done, I mean, like, kinda.
いいえ、宮でか。
Well, he doesn't want to, but it's what I deserve. I turn to the curtain and shake my head solemnly. The thought of death, of meeting that fate which I've forced upon so many others, my skin crawls, my stomach clenches, bile rises hot in my throat.
自分は死にたくなどありません。死は何にも勝る恐怖です。泥にまみれ、糞尿をすすってでも生き延びたいと思う。
Well, you know, that means you're still human at
自
least.
分は死を恐れています。
More than once on the field of battle, I've known that I would die, and each time this fear of death brought me back from the brink. Yes, I cling to my life with as much fervor as any man, if not more.
そうやったら、
だからこそ、
Yeah,
自分は死すべきなので
it's
す。
only fair.
死にたいと欲して死ぬのは安楽への逃避に過ぎません。何の処罰でもない。それは単に自殺であり、贖罪の放棄です。自分は何よりも死を意味嫌いながら、その死を幾人もの他者に強要してきました。
Yep, real eye for an eye.
かような者にこそ死罰は与えられねばなりません。ですから宮殿下、どうか自分には正しき処罰を。
I kneel and press my forehead to the mat.
正義の執行。死刑の宣告を下されたなら、自分は必ず惨めに泣きわめき、慈悲を乞い、この手にかけてきた人々への今更の謝罪を叫び、
But kill me anyway.
格子台へ登るまでの時間すべてを費やして苦悶にのたうち回ります。宮殿下、どうか港景明にはそのような最後を与えると、毎度の宮春広親王の女において
You should sitting back there like,
ここにお
man, this
約束い
is
ただきたい。
kind of heavy, ain't it? You know, like this is kind of a lot. Yeah.
宮殿下、
影明君が罪の意識を捨てられんのは仕方ない。まあ、突っ張り思い切れって方が無茶かもしれんし。死んだって、
Yeah.
何の償いにもならんのえ。
それは聖者の理屈。そもそも死者に償う方法などないのです。彼らはもはや何も言えず、何も欲することができないのです。せめて同等の懲罰を施し、均等にするしかありません。
言うてることはわからんわけやないけど、
Yeah.
やっぱりあかんよ。
I'm kind of with these two on this one.
君は死んだらあかん。わしは納得できひん。
所長、
That is your punishment, you know, for your crimes. Live and suffer
死んだ者のことを思う
with
な
what
ら
you've done.
彼らの代わりに生きて何かをなせ。お前が死ぬことに意味は何もないが、何かをなせば意味は生じる。
Yep. It's no use. They don't understand. It's not about meaning, it's about balance. Lives have value. Those who destroy them are punished. Isn't that the law? Isn't that what makes us human? My mother, Yuki, Fuki, Luna. Killing them carries no price. Then what were their lives worth? Yeah, just leave Ichijo out of that one, you know.
影明君、
大少量の件はご辞退申し上げます。どうかお許しあれ。これにて失礼。
いい天気ね。
I mean, a nice like autumn rain is good. I like it. It's nice and cool.
またしょっぱなからかっ飛んでおられますな、お嬢様。
No, it was rainy this weekend, but it wasn't that cold. It was warm enough that it, like, the ground was kind of like steaming. It was good. I liked it. Besides the part where it was dreary and made me depressed and I didn't leave my bed. But, you know, when I did go outside to, like, check the mail and go to my car to get, like, my extra aux cable, you know, I liked it. Two things were waiting when I exited the shrine: the authority pair and this pouring rain. I had to go back and borrow an umbrella for the walk to the commissioner's residence. The ladies were not so inconvenienced, as Miss Nagakura swiftly produced 2 umbrellas in a frankly appalling display of foresight. The captain's umbrella is plain and white. Perhaps it's a favorite. Every now and then she gives it a cheerful twirl.
あら、固定観念にとらわれているのではなくて、バーヤ。雨は嫌なものだなんて誰が決めたわけでもないでしょ。
なるほど、さようでございますね。恵みの雨などとも申しますし。
As a general, kind of like personal stance, I probably like rain more than I dislike it.
そうそう。
The only time I really don't like it is when I'm working outside and I'm in a spot where I'm not like underneath the wing of the airplane, so it's just like drenching me. Ooh, or the worst. I was like changing some position sensors inside like the flap pylon, and where I was standing, it was like you were standing underneath like the spout of a rain gutter, just like water fucking like all over my back, like it was someone like just had a hose and was spraying me the entire time I was working. It fucking sucked. That was awful.
どうなさったのです、お嬢様。突然そのような悪魔的不信性に満ちた人間界の笑い声を漏らされるなど、この際を思わず石を投げるところでございましたぞ。
Who's to say she doesn't have a devil in her ear?
雨の恵みは農業だけのものにあらず、男女の恋愛にとっても恵みとなるのです。
Yeah, you get to share an umbrella.
はあ、
降り注ぐ雨、濡れるブラウス、そして透ける下に自然現象を利用したさりげなくかつ強力なセックスアピールが、
And then you take residence in the like the old worn down bus stop, you know, in the boonies where people fucking dojins. Yeah, I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
おお、それは確かに恐るべき策略。さすがこのさよめの主人たる方は一味違いまする。しかしながらお嬢様、それって実は単なる知女と紙一重と申しますか、わざとやっている時点で普通に知女でございますな。
A what now? A slantern, you say? Oh my god, I can't even type in my phone's own password. Slantern. A dirty, untidy woman.
その程度のリスクに臆していては恋の成就など夢のまた夢。愛という果実を手にするには万有と呼ばれるほどの勇気こそが寛容なのですね。影焼様もそう思われますでしょ。
I don't think he's in the mood for this right now.
やっぱりじゃあ私の精一杯の勇気受け取ってくださいます。
はい。
今のを聞いてバーヤ、ついに私の思いが通じたのね。
おめでとうございます、お嬢様。まあどう見ても完璧にスルーされてるだけではあるのですが。
He's doing the thing I do, like when I just don't want to interact. I'm like, yep, wow. The lady's chatter passes over and through me. My thoughts are elsewhere, dominated by the entirely unwelcome revelation I received at Hachiman Shrine. His Highness and the Commissioner are determined, it seems, to grant me clemency, and that means my crimes will go unpunished, and no one else will knows. Words, period. Unpunished, period. No one else knows their full scope, period. no one else can judge me fairly and apply the sentence which is due. I am no longer condemned. How can this be? How can they allow it? They can't. I can't. It's not right.
そういえば、そこはかとなくお元気がありませんわね。
はて、さようでございましょうか。陰鬱なお顔。
Yeah, that's...
近寄るだけで株価が下がってしまいそうな不景気な気配。いつも通りの港様に見えまするが。
でも、普段の影明様なら、私がこれだけモーションをかければ、ぐだぐだうるせんね、メス犬が、どうせ俺のこれが欲しいんだろとか叫んで、
good
襲
rolls
って
in
くる
those
と思わ
R's.
ない？
Again, I wish I could roll my R's.
おっしゃられてみれ
I
ば、
can't. The most I can do is I can go
そんな
like...
気がいたします。
Like I can't do trills. My tongue
何
is
か
too
終わ
big.
りになったのかも。
何かとは？
殿方をこうも承知させてしまうことなのですから。
はあ。
不能？
I mean, maybe.
お待ちよ。
心地立てなくなったのかしら。
待ってっつってんだろ、お嬢様。
このお年で人居なんて。どうしましょうさよ。立たない影明様も好きですって言って差し上げたいけど、
Probably.
かえって傷つけてしまうかしら。
つうか、それがどうして八幡宮で判明するのでありましょ
Look,
う
you
や。
know, just some guy talk, you know.
あんたもう人間としてダメでございますね、お嬢様。
You know, with his stepdad and... Or not really stepfather, just like adoptive father and royalty? No. The drone of the rain is somehow distant, but my sopping shoes refuse to be forgotten. The socks cling to my feet like cold, dead slugs. How much farther?
あ、影明様、少しお待ちになって。
You need to get some better shoes if your feet are that wet already. A beat passes before I register her hail and stop. The white umbrella is no longer at my side. Turning, I see the captain a few paces behind me, by the road that leads up to Mount Genjiyama. We're about halfway home.
何か
銭洗弁財天様へ行くには、こちらの道でよろしいの？
Benten Shrine. The name brings a spark of pain to my chest. I force myself not to remember.
はいこの道をまっすぐ行けば
Yeah, it's where this fucking serial killer teacher was like hiding the corpses of his students he killed.
少しお参りしてきても構いませんかしら。私、まだ行ったことがなく
Are you
て。
doing this on purpose?
鎌倉に来てからこちら何かと慌ただしく観光しているゆとりもございませんでしたからね。
あれも、観光というには少々世話しなかったような。
わかりましたご案内しましょう
Are you?
いえいえ、そんな、まっすぐなのでしょ？なら、私一人で大丈夫です。さよ、影明様をお願いね。
は、お任せくださいませ。
The captain departs swiftly before I can respond. I watch her umbrella fade into the mist, then breathe a sigh. I'm honestly relieved. Although the shrine cannot be more than a few dozen meters up the hill, my spirit rebels at the thought of even that brief climb. I'd rather wait here in the rain, where I can try to empty my mind. Miss Nagakura stands silently a few paces away. I can hardly feel her presence. Perhaps she has sensed my state of mind and chosen to give me space. If so, I should apologize for putting her in that position, but right now, I don't even have the strength to feel guilty. I'm more curious about why the captain left her with me in the first place. I seem to recall the lady sharing a look before the captain turned off for Genjiyama. What could that have... Never mind. To think at all is exhausting. True to her word, the captain shortly returns and we resume walking. Even though the heavy gray sky offers no clue as to the sun's position, A subtle shift in the light tells me that nightfall is near. It takes me a moment to realize that the captain's shadowy expression is not entirely a product of the thickening darkness.
何かございましたか？
いえ、大したことではないのだけど、少し嫌な話を聞いてしまって。
弁天様で？
ええ、宮司さんがちょうどいらっしゃったから神社のご由緒などをお伺いしたの。そうしたら、
実はこの神社は海底の都市で眠るタコっぽい姿の神様を祀っているのです。
Well,
とでも言われましたかな？
それはすごく嫌だけどそうではなくて、入り口が洞窟になっている面白いお社だったから子供たちにはいい遊び場なのでしょうねって言ったのよ。そうしたら宮司さんが暗い顔をなさって、少し前までは元気な4人組がよく来ていたが今はもういない。
Yeah, crazy.
はあ
4人揃って不幸な目に遭われてしまったのですって。一人はこの辺りの一人は残酷な事件に巻き込まれて両目をなくしてしまって、一人は同じ事件で手足を。
なんと。
最後の一人は自分の家の中で誰かに殺されてしまったのですって。
Yeah, that's real unfortunate.
首をきれいに跳ねられていたそうよ。
Damn, that's crazy. Wonder how that could have happened.
むごい話でございますね。
本当にどこの悪魔がそんなことをしたのかしら。明るくてとても良い子供たちだったそうなのに、首を切ってしまうなんて。
Oh, yeah, I wonder.
まこと、人否人の所業でございます。
許せない。
許せませぬな。
けれど犯人は捕まっていないみたい。罰を受けてはいないのよ。
Will justice never be found?
もうのとどこかで生き
Is
て
the
いるの
world
です
such
か。
an unjust place?
ええ、罪もない子供を殺して自分は生きている。
なんと浅ましい。
今もどこかで自分だけが不幸という顔をして雨の中を歩いているのよ。もう雨に濡れることもかなわない子供たちのことは忘れて。
She says, fucking looking right at him.
この世は不条理なものでございます。
本当にそうね。子供は死んで子供を殺した悪魔は生きる。どうして逆ではないのかしら。
どうして逆ではないのでしょう。
ねえ、影明様、どうして。
Well, you know, kind of got still got stuff to do. Yeah, it's not fair, but is what it is. Ooh, getting a little wobbly.
港様？
どうされましたの？しっかりなさって。
Low iron. Why? Why am I still alive? Why, when I have killed so many, when I have sent them to a world without wind or rain, am I free to walk beneath this or any sky? It's not right. It's not right. I deserve to be punished. I must be punished. Yet those who know my crimes refuse to condemn me. Worse yet, they plot to forgive me, to honor what I've done, to grant me peace as my reward. Why is this happening? You know, just normal things to do on the side of the road. Just collapse and start screaming. Oturikaine watches the man sink to his knees in the rain. Her eyes are cold. No, not cold. There is warmth in them, gentle and accepting. And then, with boundless love, she smiles. Man, that's kind of fucked up, huh? The Shogun is dead. He fucking blew up. Thomas Compton does not consider himself a man prone to grievances. Certainly, he might fly into a rage if you took away his afternoon tea, but to take away his coffee instead, and he wouldn't bat an eye. Certainly, he might reach for his sword if he learned that his wife had been unfaithful, but he's perfectly willing to let her swoon at handsome young actors on the stage. All in all, one might describe him as possessing an above-average generosity of spirit. His colleagues might choose other words, but this too he can dismiss as inevitable, for what man truly understands the mind of his betters? He is a knight and a gentleman, and a good Englishman holds himself above such petty concerns. Still, too much generosity is a weakness, and while a knight may overlook minor offenses for pride, that same pride demands that he respond with thrown glove to any that would treat him like a slave, or like prey. Thus, when his lord father strikes him with a clenched fist, he will accept it with tears of shame, for he knows that he did wrong. Thus, when his lady wife strikes him with a lily-white palm, he will return it with his gentlest embrace, for he knows that she only missed him dearly. But when thieves conspire to rob him of everything he has, will he offer them change for the taxi ride home? No, he will not. He will see them off with a knife in the back instead. And that is why he doesn't doubt for a moment that what he's doing is right.
急げ！もたもたするな！巡回はしばらく来ませんよ。15分ごとに基地を一回りする決まりになっちゃいますが、あいつらの時計は秒針が4周しないと分針が進まない仕組みですから。
そこの海に落として錆びつかせちまったんでしょうね、きっと。
くだらんおしゃべりはいい。横浜にいた頃の部下を思い出してイライラする。さっさと済ませてくれ。潮風が身にしみる。
And he's just like me at work.
毛布でもかぶりたい。
そりゃ俺たちだって同じですがね。
You know, not your
本当
covers
にや
though,
っち
our
まってい
own.
いんですか？バレたら軍籍剥奪程度じゃ済まねえだろ、これ。バレるものか。巡回が1時間に1度しか来ないと言ったのはお前たちだぞ。六原の患者から単なる愉快犯まで。入る気になれば誰でも入れるということだろうが。
まあね。
こうやって爆薬仕掛けてる現場を抑えられなければ、ね。
So, what are you guys doing?
だから急げと言っている。へいへい。
今更なしにもできませんからやりますが、どうも割に合わねえ気がしてきたな。
ロンドンの郊外に牧場一つ買える程度の報
Maybe like a
酬
little
では。
farther up north. I don't want to be too close to London.
不足ってこともないですが。
Make it a nice little hamlet in Cornwall. That would be nice.
常に傷を持ったまま軍隊で生きていくことを考えますとね。
Nice little summer villa on the beach.
軍に格別の愛着があるわけでもあるまい。折を見て退役してしまえ。私もそうする。
Fucking hit that 20-year mark and pull the ejection handle and fucking see you later, nerds.
こんな異国
Live it up on that
で
pension.
ひなびた海を見続ける毎日などもうごめんだ。もう十分だ。もう勘弁してくれ。ああ、だから私はそうするともさ。そうして何が悪いというのだ、横浜の腐れ野郎ども。
無論機関がただそうするだけなら別に不満はないんだがね。我々腐れ野郎どもとしても。
Ooh, busted.
ああ。
まあね。
後部電中さ。前々から機関には忠告が必要だと思ってはいた。正々堂々たることは騎士の美徳であって野党の美徳ではないと。
クライブ。
ま、機関の騎士道精神のおかげでこうして水際阻止が間に合ったんだから文句言えた筋合いじゃないがね。ついでだ。
Yeah.
投降も潔く頼む。
Like sending you home.
帰還の希
Kicking
望
you out
は
of the army.
おおむね叶えられるだろう。ただ口を聞くことと体を動かすことと金を使うことはもう
In a box. Thomas Cobden never doubted for a moment that he was right. If it takes him some time to come to terms with the reality, then truly, who can blame him? Strange Adventures of the Lord of Hyuga, Part 47, The Fall of Mount Shigi. As the gate fell, Nobunaga's legions loosed a mighty cry and swept into the castle. Brave Hisamichi threw himself against the flood, but the foe was too many, and his comrades were too few. He fought with great valor, slaying 4 of the enemy's finest, but at last a warrior by the name of Sasaki, who served the Lord of Hyuga, shattered his spear with one mighty blow. The enemy's footmen, sensing weakness, fell upon him in strength of numbers. Before he could even draw his sword, he had been wounded in the side and shoulder. Sasaki struck off his head, and thus passed Matsunaga Hisamichi, son of Lord Hisahide, captain of the Right Palace Guard, in his 35th year. No verse marks his grave. The fall of their champion threw the castle's defenders into chaos. Many cast off their helms and fled the field, or turned their spears against the men beside them. As the invaders set fire to the outer keeps, even the hardiest of Matsunaga's bannermen began to take their own lives, that the enemy might be denied the satisfaction. In the great keep, Lord Hisahide knew his time had come. Below, the enemy filled his castle like waves on a storm-tossed sea, and beyond, he could spy the flags of their general, the Lord of Izumo, the son of the hated Nobunaga. His blood roared, though the enemy might claim his head and his land, their blood too would flow this day. Thus sworn, he seized the lacquered bowl beside him and lifted it high, that all might see. The Lord of Izumo surged upon in his saddle, as did Ashiba, the Lord of Chikuzen, beside him. This strange bowl, fashioned in the likeness of a spider, was the very artifact that their master had sent them to secure. Its worth was such that Nobunaga had offered to forgive Matsunaga's betrayals if only he would relinquish it freely. As his enemies cried out in dismay, Lord Hisahide cackled madly, then spoke what all present believed would be his parting verse. Talubsi? Abdullah? Ulu? Bachur? I'm going to assume that's like Buddhist stuff. At once, an explosion shook the castle. The air filled with smoke, and as it cleared, there rose above the throng a spider-like shape of monstrous proportions. Indeed, it was as though that terrible artifact had grown to the size of Mount Shigi itself. And at its apex stood none other than Matsunaga Hisahide, Lord High Judge of the Imperial Courts. With booming voice, he raised his arms and cried, "Behold, fell Psychronosh, Deus Machina of the Book of Ebon. Come, Lord Izumo, and taste my wrath." Nobunaga's vassals gaped in horror. Even the Lord of Hyuga felt fear grip his soul. How could they defeat such a creature? But there, in his trembling fist, was the strange book gifted him by a priest from a foreign land. And upon its spine the name Necronomicon. I don't think this tale is quite so historical. To be continued. What fucking schlock. I mean, it sounds like some good schlock, but, you know. After finishing the short story on the final page, I fold the newspaper and set it aside. Then, not knowing what else to do, I turned my gaze to the garden. It seems faded, though. But I know better than to blame the flowers for that. When camellias and chrysanthemums appear once and the same, then it is your spirit which has dulled, not their petals. It's been like this ever since that day in the rain, when I collapsed on my way back from Hachiman's shrine. I have spent this time in futile idleness. This is not entirely my fault. Muramasa has yet to pick up Kinsego's trail, and there has been no new word from the commissioner or the prince. But even then, there must be something I can do besides offend flowers with my numb sensibilities. I could help Muramasa with her search, or pretend to. My faculties are no use there. Perhaps I could just spend all my time training, for when her search finally does bear fruit. There's plenty I could be doing, and yet I'm doing none of it. This can't go on. Kinsego's still out there. I have a duty to end her madness. So what are you waiting for? Shape up, man. Get off this floor and do something to prepare. Alas, the abomination, not abomination, what the fuck am I saying? Admonishing? Sure. Yep. Admonishing rings hollow in the cavernous void that has occupied my soul. When the echo fades, I'm still exactly where I was before. The cause of my present state is no mystery. It is weakness, plain and simple. And what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Terminal, I diagnose myself.
Kageaki-sama.
As always, there's hardly any sound to precede Miss Makimura's arrival at my door. The resident sole caretaker has a lightness of presence that I find surprising, given the sheer volume of her responsibilities. Fortunately, that lightness means that even in my present state, I feel no particular reluctance to face her. When I turn, she states her business with typical brevity.
お電話です。
自分に
Oh yeah, you just yelled into the fucking receiver.
いいえ頭を抱えてわけのわからぬことをわめきつつ
Her cheerful tone suggests that she has forgotten what happened the last time we met. I am not so lucky. Memories rise, each called by the last, and misery once more threatens to blossom. Though I manage to quash it before it can, I'm left feeling as though a Sisyphean, there we go. Sisyphean weight has settled upon my shoulders. Yeah, push that boulder.
先日は見苦しい姿をお目にかけました申し訳ありませんおかげをもちまして
He says, lying through his teeth. I decline to add that her absence has greatly aided my recovery. I was hoping to at least have a few more days before I had to deal with her again, but depending on why she called, that may not be an option.
それでいかがされましたかわざわざ電話などを使いになるからには
The uncertainty in her voice comes across even through the speaker. Does she not know how to proceed? This is the first time she has called the commissioner's residence. While it is true that the telephone, despite its convenience, remains an uncommon and expensive means of communication, she's not someone for whom those factors would be an issue. Nevertheless, she has always chosen to speak face to face. This divergence from the norm suggests a degree of urgency.
はい
Okay.
は
I lean into the receiver, preparing myself for her message. Okay.
鍵
What? She called to talk about racing cruxes? I'll have to take your word for it. This seems almost impossible to solve in English, so I'm just along for the ride. Is this like a crossword? Thank you, Crow. A hole, a hole.
タイあたかもクロスワードパズルの答えを聞かれているかのような心地がしております。
何をおっしゃいますの？
Yes.
申し訳ない。やはり疲れているようです。して、ただいまのご質問の意味は？もう
影明様ったら私をおからかいになって。
そのようなつもりはつゆほど。
Yeah, you confuse me.
もちろんクロスワードパズルの答えをお尋ねしていますのよ。今度こそ重機を置こうとなさいましたでしょう。
はい。
Yeah, we want to go back to like doing nothing. Would much rather wallow in misery than deal with this.
せいぜい小一時間ほどかと。
Just get a dictionary at that point.
食事中もです。入浴中もです。川屋にも持ち込んで考えておられます。正直いい加減にしろと思っております。
聞きました影明様。
進駐軍の大尉とは何をする人なのですか？
You know, usually to get to captain, you just gotta get promoted. You don't really have to do anything. It's when you're going up for major and above. That's when you actually have to, like, you know, do stuff that's important and, like, go before boards. I'd truly like to know. Sometimes your unit's just good and you can fucking coast on that. You know, if your unit's doing good stuff and you're a part of it, you know, you can make your package look really good. Like this year, my fucking annual fucking it's not an EPR anymore. It's like an EPB. They changed how they're done. So I don't even know fucking how it's supposed to look now. But I did a lot of good shit this year, because so did my unit. But you know, me in particular, fucking rock star. So I'm really, you know, fingers crossed, knocking wood, I get promoted next year. I need to study too, but you know, my work part of that package is looking fire. So.
自分とは何のゆかりもありませんが。
Expecting to get Firewall 5s. Let's go, baby. Constructed 700 years ago by Hojo Tokiyori, 5th regent of the Kamakura shogunate, Kenchoji is the greatest of Kamakura's 5 mountains, Zen temples belonging primarily to the Rinzai school of Buddhism. I've had occasion to visit the landmark, but only as a tourist. I can't think of any reason I should need to go there now. Yeah, we were reading the paper just a little bit ago. Though I can't say I've actually processed much of what I've read in the paper. The information just sitting there in some corner of my comatose brain, like hops in a warehouse gathering yeast. Damn, don't sound so happy about it. Embellishments aside, I am indeed aware. The news was reported a few days ago after the shogun was said to have made pilgrimage to Hachiman Shrine. Which does not have to mean that His Highness wasn't responsible, I realize all too belatedly. He might have found someone else to assassinate the shogun during the ceremony. Rokuharu would not have want the truth made public, which would explain the delay, and also why no details have been released. Come to think of it, I've also read that Hachiman Shrine remains under lockdown, and the security is no less tight than it was the day of the pilgrimage. That alone suggests that something highly significant happened there. Still, I cannot be certain that the prince was behind it. There are other possibilities, and I can't imagine who he would have used in my place. Wait, what am I doing? I've forgotten all about the captain.
失礼。無論存じております。幕府の動揺は相当なものだとか。
幕 府だけではなくてよ、影明様。GHQ もです。そちらの事件はご存知ない？
I mean, maybe. Yokosuka?
横須賀軍港の進駐軍基地で過失による事故があり、高級将校の一人が責めを負って辞職したという話なら耳にしていますが。
It hardly seems relevant, but as far as I know, there's been no other news from that sector.
はて、大将領の皇居と横須賀の事故がつながるのでしょうか。
I have no idea.
事故ならつながりはしませんけれどもね。
Is she suggesting that it wasn't? If so, then what?
大殿、お話の筋が不明確です。つまるところ、自分が県庁寺へ向かうべき理由とは何事でありましょう。
あら、結論もお急ぎになる。愛し合う者同士、もう少しゆったりと会話を楽しみません。
愛があるのなら、それもよかろうとは存じます。
またそんなつれない。影明様はいつもそう。私の気持ちなんて
Once you start being normal and not like this vicious bitch.
それなりに察してはいるつもりなのですが。
Well, enough to know they are comprised chiefly of malice, though the source of that malice remains a mystery.
もういいです。では要件だけお伝えしますから。
はい。
県庁寺には毎度の宮殿下がいらっしゃいます。所長さんも多分ご一緒。
宮殿下が。
No, I rebuke my sluggish mind. It makes perfect sense. With Hachiman closed, the prince would have needed a new residence. Kinchoji, given its religious significance, would have been the logical choice.
わかりました。ご教示ありがとうございます。近々、ご機嫌伺いに参上することにいたしましょう。
本当にどうなさ
He's in a bit of a malaise at the moment, you know. The captain giggles softly, clearly amused, not merely at my utter incompetence, but also, I sense, by the intimate knowledge of factors responsible for my present state. For an instant, I'm certain that she knows everything.
今すぐと申しましたでしょ。明日ではもう間に合わなくてよ、影明様。
とはいかなる。
これから県庁寺が襲われます。
Thanks for the insider tip.
なんと。
狙いはもちろん宮殿下。逃げ場もなし。あのお方はお命を奪われることになりますかしら。
That's bad.
誰もお守りしないのなら。ねえ。
なぜです。どこの何者が難情を持って宮殿下を。
Probably a lot of people.
さあ。
大殿。
結論を急がせたのは影明様でしょ。私は今節丁寧にお話しするつもりでしたのに。
Well, yeah, we just wanted to get back to like sulking in the corner. Now you're making us like go out and do errands.
しようのない方だこと。では、一言だけ。人を呪わば穴二つ。
なんです。
Yeah, he's just getting his comeuppance? Comeuppance? Yeah.
策謀は呪いと同じ。打ち方を誤れば己に返ってくるものなのです。
つまり。
Yeah, what goes around.
はい、ここまで。今は行動あるのみでしてよ。
お待ちを。
お急ぎなさいましね。
Okay, bye. After glaring at the receiver for a few seconds longer, I returned it to its cradle with a sharp clack. What's going on here? His Highness was engaged in a scheme that went wrong, and now someone's trying to kill him for it? Is it Rokahara? Was the Shogun's death indeed the prince's doing? If so, and they have proof, they could be after revenge. Or could be some other faction for reasons I can't fathom. No, I can worry about that later. If what the captain said is true, there's no time to waste.
Muramasa! 聞こえているか? 今すぐに戻れ!
The plot thickens.
つきましてございます。
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we're going to be ending it here for today. So once again, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys on next time for the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa, where I guess we're going to have a battle at the shrine. Maybe? I don't know. We'll have to tune in next time to find out. I'm going to go get ready for work, I suppose. They probably want me to come in on the days I'm scheduled to, so I guess I have to go do my job in order to get my money. Okay, bye everyone. Mwah.